Bezat Hashem, B'shat Matzliach, we'll be back at the Midrash David Chai. Hashem self will continuing in Siman 159. Right, we're in the middle of Siman Siv Bet, Siv Katan Yud Aleph. Right, so we said that the whole the utensil that you have in your hand has a hole beneath it. You could still contain more than reveed, more than 86 grams. So you have a kli, and so you have the top of the kli, the top of the utensil, then you have on the side a hole. So as long as below that hole we said it has the measurement of reveed, that 86 grams of liquid still containing in it, that container you're allowed to use for washing hands. Says Mishnah Berurah, today is 26th of Shvat, Monday the second day of the week of Parashat Shabbat, Parashat Terumah. So he says, Kivan shemachazik revi'it, because it contains in it revi'it. Right here, you see that Yud Aleph, Mishnah Berurah? Up all the way on top, all the way, the first line of Mishnah Berurah. First line of Mishnah Berurah. Yud Aleph, yeah. Kivan shemachazik revi'it, yesh me'achronim shekatvu dechol ze בניקב, אבל בנסדק, אף אם מחזיק רביעית למטה צדק, אפילו אינו רק כמוציא משקה פסול. So this is, everybody, all the rabbis here, says Mishnah Berurah, hold as long as it has a hole. If it has a hole, right, where it will pretend that the water could come out straight from the hole, that would not be a problem. But nizdak, what about if it's cracked? If it's cracked and the crack ends right before where the measurement of 86 grams still sustained there. So the rabbis say that if it says a hole, Memtet, the fourth line in Mishnah Berurah. So if it's a hole, not a problem. All the Shulchan Aruch meant was a hole. That's where the question, Rab Zohar, yesterday we questioned, what about cracks that we have sometimes in the cups? In the cup. So he says cracks, according to everybody, pasul, right away. Cannot be. You have to have a hole or a cutout. If he doesn't have a hole or a cutout, it's a crack, that would be an issue altogether. Why? Because that is now considered to be what? It's considered to be broken kli. And what is that important? Why do I care if it's a broken kli? If it's a broken utensil, it does not become tumah anymore. And we said that you could only wash your hands with something that is fit to become tameh. And since this is a broken kli, a kli that's broken, if it has a hole, it still has a name of kli. It has a name of utensil. But once it's a crack, it's no longer viable as a utensil. A cracked dish is a cracked dish, and Halacha says anything that's cracked, it's like a broken. And if it's a broken, it doesn't become tameh. And if it doesn't become tameh, you can't use it for washing your hands. Okay? Once it starts cracking, why is that Halacha? Once it has a little crack, we have a rule that once something starts cracking, it cracks all the way. You hear what's going on? That's the rule. That's the bach, and that's why it's pasul.
In general, let's say a regular cup.
Yes.
Side note, regular cup. If it has a crack in it.
Yes.
A ceramic cup. Are we
yes.
still allowed to continue?
No, it's not drinking. You can't use it for washing hands. Drink, you could drink whatever you want.
Yeah.
Drinking is not a problem. If you're not choishish on krat, you're gonna cut your lips. If you're not worried about that, go ahead.
No, sometimes there's a crack.
There's a crack a little bit. Yeah. If that's not so, it's not banged in the sink, right, but it's not viable to use as a dish, kli. Like again, a plastic cup. We said it's not good to wash your hands, but you could drink from it. So that's nothing. One has nothing to do with the other. The question is, can you utilize it now?
Plastic, even for hand washing.
Right. 1 second, but that's the problem making kiddush now. That's the problem. If it's cracked, then how are you going to make kiddush on it? It's considered to be broken dish. Yeah. Kiddush also requires a full cup, as we'll learn later. So that's the reason why we must. That's why we must avoid cracks at all costs.
And also we learned that chipped.
Chipped is not a problem.
Not a problem.
Chipped is not. That's exactly what it is. Whole chipped is not a problem. Problem with cracks is a problem. Cracks because they always crack it more further. And once it's a little bit cracked, we consider the whole cup is broken already. And that's why it's pasul to be used for revi'it, for washing your hand, for kiddush, for all these things. Okay? Ve'ataz cholef. So this is shitat abach. Ve'ataz cholek alav ve'sover denizdak deno kenikav. Says, no, ataz, I don't understand what you're talking about. It's not necessarily. Right now in front of me, is it cracked all the way? No, it's a little bit cracked. Does it have 86 grams below the crack? Says yes. So Taz says, what's the problem? Why are you making up over here? It's going to get cracked. It's already like cracked. Taz doesn't agree with Rabbi Bach. ואין לפסול אלא אם כן יוצא דרך הצדק טיפ אחר טיפ. אז הווה ככונס משקה. He says, however, when the Taz will agree that when it starts cracking, that it's no good once it starts letting water out. If the cracking is enough to let water out drip by drip, there Taz also agrees that it's broken already. Here he says, it's like, I guess it's bringing out a liquid or letting in the liquid. And so that will be, so what's the problem with that? Look at Mishnah, Ish Matzliach, Rav Zohar. Read Ish Matzliach number 2. You have glasses on? En alashon?
No, I can't see that.
He says, En alashon medugdak. This language, something is wrong with Mishnah Berurah. גם אם אינו מטפטף טיפ אחר טיפ, אפשר דהבי כונס משקה או באי בדיקה. He says, I don't understand what you're saying. He says, Ish Matzliach says, what's the problem? Even if it's not dripping, and if you could put that cup inside a barrel, right, you'll see that the water will be coming in through those cracks. So what's the difference if sometimes it doesn't let it out, let out or let in? Sometimes it lets in, but it doesn't let out. Other times it lets out, doesn't let in. So there's different ways to see it. So he says, you have to go and check. According to Taz, you must go and check the kli before you use it for anything. So you put it down. Now, most of the time, by the way, our cracks that we see on our silver cups, silver goblets, many times have cracks on top. If it fall down, where it's in wash with other dishes and it hits another dish, and little crack. This is not what we're talking about here, by the way. Those cracks that we have sometimes on top, it's a little crack that it's not even protruding on the coast. It's actually, most of the time, it's around. It's in a circle around the coast, right? So those cracks, mistama, are not going to be a problem. We're talking about because it's not even touching the liquid. The liquid never gets there so far, right? So we have basically what we have is like a plastic cup we have yesterday, right? It has that little tip on top. So that was on top, the little crack is not going to be anything. We're talking literally splitting in the cup itself where the liquid is. That would be the issue, and not like what we're talking about. Like most of the time, it's very common today. It's a very common question. Is this a problem? No, it will not be a problem. It has to be that the crack is mistama also true and true. Sometimes the silver pressure, because they put sometimes layers in the cups to make it more beautiful, right? So they would make a cup and then they would make designs. So the outside could be cracked, but the inside is not even cracked. Because the outside is a totally different piece, even though you don't see it, because it's welded in nicely. But in reality, it's not even one there. What Mr. we're talking about here, that it has to have true crack, where there would be a problem, literally, of water sipping in or sipping out. That would be the problem. So continues Mishnah Berurah. We're about 7 or 8 lines down, where number 2 is. V'ayen b'chaye adam, look at the chaye adam, shekatav, that he wrote, De'im en lo kli acher, yuchal esmoch al dat ataz, le'aker bazeh. He says, no, regardless, right? What does Taz say? Does say that we have a problem even if it's leaking, but still Taz has another kula, another leniency, that as long as there is below the crack 86 grams of liquid, and if you have no other cup, says Chaye Adam, you could rely on this Taz. Because Taz told you, as long as who says there is no guarantee. Bach declaring, Bach obviously has a lot of other Rishonim, whatever, there's a whole big Matzliach, but he says once it's a crack, we're going to consider it to be broken. The Taz says, with all due respect, it's not broken. I understand what you want to say, that it's going to break anyway, so let it break. When it breaks, we'll deal with it. Right now, it's not broken. Right now, it's not broken. Why you want to puzzle that I have no other cup? So if you says, you're right. If you don't have any other cup, we'll hold like Taz. Okay, continue. Bach says, however, even in reference to what Bach says, if it's a copper, a bronze cup, or any other metal cup, right? The chazakim they're much stronger than what's his name? The kli cheres, the pottery cups, they're much stronger than them, right? Because it's metal. So so even the Bach says, when does the problem start? That if it's cracked a little bit, it's going to crack all the way. Only when it's related to ceramic cups, all those China cups. Those China cups will be a problem because that's the way that works. A little bit goes all the way. But even Bach will agree on metals, gold. Somebody has a gold Kiddush cup, silver Kiddush cup, or copper, or any other metal, then it will not be a problem because metal is not so easy to crack. It doesn't crack instantly. La gera nizdag menikav. It's not called from that hole. From that moment that it's cracked, it's not going to be scratching more. It's not going to be opening up more, cracking up more. Number 3, ish matzliach. Listen to this. והכף החיים כתב, מסתמיות דברי הפוסקים, מה שאומרת, בכל גבנך ישינם. No, כף החיים says, I don't know what you're talking about, Mishnah Berurah, with all due respect. He says, according to all that what we're learning, all different materials is a problem. Once they start cracking, What's the difference? ולכן, יש להחמיר אפילו בכלי מתכות, even if it's what's his name? The metal or, what's his name? Metal or silver or gold also will be asur. We should be worried about. Ve'en acher as lo yivarech. He says v'men acher. So he says you're right. If you want to use the metal with a crack for washing your hands, use it, or plastic today. Plastic also breaks very easy, like I would say, like China sometimes. Once it starts cracking, it goes all the way, right? So Mishnah Kapachim says if your dish that you're washing hands is cracked, you could use it only, but the problem is you can't make a bracha. Bracha, safek, brachot, levatala, you don't make a bracha. Use it, no problem. עיין שם, ועיין בהערות שבסוף הספר שמברך יש לו על מה לסמוך. However, איש מצליח כראש ישיבה כיסא רחמים, he says, if somebody does make a bracha after washing with this kind of cups, metal cups, he has on what to rely, and it's not a problem. Yes,
if you have a plastic keli.
Yes, like we have. We all have plastic keli, yeah.
There's no safek there?
He says, yeah, if it's cracked, it's a problem.
No crack.
No problem whatsoever. Safek.
No problem, right?
If it's a one-time dish, we only discussed it. One-time plastic is a problem. You know, the one-time, disposable, whatever those cups, that's a problem because it's a big mahalukit. But all our plastic cups today are washing hands.
So if you're somewhere outside with the kids, I don't know, in the zoo, the park, if you're using a disposable cup, no bracha.
No bracha, mashma. Unless you're going to plan to reuse it. So you say, you know what, while we're in the trip, we're using this plastic cup.
So if 5 people are going to use the same
no
cup,
problem. No problem. Make a bracha. Yeah. Okay? Yeah. Yes. If it's you, that's what we ended up saying, yes. ויש להוסיף כיוון שהבעל כתב שכן, מבואר בדברי הראשונים, ולא מצאנו מי שחולק לידיעה, יש להכריע כן. So he says there are some Rishonim that agree. I mean, that Kafayim obviously goes with Rishonim, so that's the problem. It says, therefore, this is the whole scenario here. If it's cracked, even metal, unlike Taz, unlike Bach, Kafayim says we should be Mahmir. We should be more stringent, and he actually forbids. He forbids anybody washing with those cracked cups to make any bracha altogether because of Safek Brachot Lehakel. Let's continue. ועיין בביאור ההלכה שצידדנו בכלי זכוכית אפילו אם הצדק דק מאוד שאין אפילו כמוציא משקה אם אין כלי יכול לקבל עתה עמין כצולן אין ליטול בו. He says, what about glass cups? People are today, Baruch Hashem, very stylish houses, the modern houses. They buy a glass and he says, even if it's a little bit cracked, it's asur. Glass, even has a little crack, it's asur to wash hands with because it's very fragile. You can't use it because glass, once it has a crack, it's going to be gone instant. It's going to be gone within a short period of time. Next time it's going to fall down in the sink, it's going to crack more. So I guess it has already, because of its fragile state, that's it. You can't use it anymore. Okay. Katabataz, im mo'il listom hanekev. Oh, the question is, what about if you know how to close a hole? By the way, they have this new technology. You know that, right? It's amazing. I guess they're saying they're showing commercials about it. I don't know if it's true. If you have a crack in your windshield and you put some kind of liquid, and the crack is no longer there, it's still there. You know that, right? You know what's happening. What they're using over there is a microns, right? So they're turning what's his name? When they go into the crack, I guess they turn around you cannot see it, but it's still there. So basically, they're not fixing it. You can't see it, but it's not fixed. They're not patching it.
They even have now for the phone screens.
Yeah.
For the phone screen.
Yeah, because it's glass. what is it called? The micro. It's called the small robots. No, what is it called? Microns, something like that. It's like a little robot. It's like a liquid. You put it in, so it fixes up, but it's not. Amazing, huh? All this
for
fakeness.
the floor, it's called self-level.
Yeah.
But, I don't know for these things.
Yeah. What is that name for it? They have a name for it. No. Today you go to elevators. It says over there, self-clean buttons. You know that, right? Yeah. They have a liquid, like a smear of liquid that goes in and it cleans. And it cleans. You could press that, no problem. Okay, you're not going to transfer any disease on your hands. You never saw that in elevators? Yeah, it's called microbot something technology. Microbot technology, self-cleaning.
Some of us are always on the phone. We don't pay attention.
But by the way, what they're doing new shots today. They came up with a new shot that have the whole world have to be shot with. That's exactly the technology. The technology is that if somebody has let's say something internal, some kind of damage, the microbots will go and fix it. Meaning they'll restructure the cells. That's what they're trying to get to. So they did it with glass. They did it now. They're doing it with the humans. Okay, so now, let's continue. Now he says like this. What about is it possible? Does it work when you put a cover? You put a hole, fixed up the hole. Let's say you have a plastic cup.
Well, it does.
Yeah, right after that. What about does it help to close the hole? We could learn over there what Ravad wrote. Perek Yudalet in Rambam, Milchot Kelim, in the laws of Kelim, in chapter 4. Sorry. Perek Yudalet, 14th chapter, Milchot Kelim. Divitit eno mo'il b'shum kli. If you're putting mud to fix up a pot, to fix up any utensil, it doesn't work. So if you have a crack in a dish, and now you put outside little mud, like, or limestone or something like that to make it strong, it says it doesn't work. However, what about tar? The tar, they put tar on the roof, the black tar. So you took that black tar and you put it around the dish that you want to wash hands with. And you have a kli cheres, you have a china pottery, and you want to put around a little bit tar to cover up the hole or whatever it is. So there it does help. So if it's tar on the chinaware, it's okay.
So chinaware, kli cheres,
it's allowed.
pottery,
Right.
ceramic, it's fine.
Right, but anything else, mud, it will not work.
Like what? Anything else like what?
Any other
glass,
dish.
plastic?
Whatever. No, not glass, but metal, anything. Whatever you disqualified. You put, what's his name? Even put tar on it, doesn't work unless it's pottery.
Unless it's like
pottery, China pottery.
Natural?
Yeah, China pottery. Tar has to be. That's the only tar. Let's continue. ובכל דבר שהוא ממין אותו כלי, כגון של מתכת במתכת או של עץ בעץ, בוודאי מהנה. Says no. But if it's the material of that material, so if it's a copper cup, you melt copper into it, no problem. You welded silver on silver, any material on it, it's okay.
As I'm saying, if you take the plastic cup is made out of oil.
1 second, forget about what it's made out of. I want to go. Right now it's plastic, right? So let's say you have a crack on your plastic cup, you took another plastic and you melted onto it, no problem. Go ahead.
But tar, that's what it is.
Tar is not.
Tar is like a rubber.
Again, it has to be that material. That material only. וכן כתב בשערי תשובה, this is how it's written בשערי תשובה, ועיין מה שכתבנו בביאור הלכה בשם הנשמת אדם.
Would be okay.
Again, anything that's of that material. Silicon, who makes a washing cup of silicone? Plastic is not silicone. Silicone is not plastic. It's a different material.
It's not silicone.
It's a different material. There's a different formula. I mean, you have to have same exact material that you want to do a patch. If you do the patch of the same material, kol hakavod, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Let's go. You have 5 minutes till 6. Let's do another halacha. Siman 159. Rabbi Zohar is going to read for us Gimel Bechavot. Number 3.
שמחזיק רביעית כשסומכים אותו, ואם לא יסמכוהו ישפכו המים ולא יישאר בו רביעית.
אינו כלי. So he says like this, כלי שמחזיק רביעית כשסומכים אותו. So he says like this, you have some kind of a dish that when you combine it, when you hold it together, it will hold a revit. Like sometimes, let's say you have two candles. Like we discussed yesterday, you have candle on one side 40 grams and on the other side another 40 grams. And it's like two, but you could combine it actually. Once you combine it and on top you have a hole, and you could fill it up with holding it a revit. You made a combination that has revit in it when you combine it. And when you hold it together, it has revit. You could pour, right? Very nice. No good. Because individually, if it separates, we're talking crack is no good. Can you imagine over here? What even the question?
I don't know how this is a question.
No, but he's saying why? Because let's see. What Mr. Berurah will discuss.
Just in case you get creative. Yeah.
That's it. Let's go. Hilkach.
hilקח
מגופה של חבית.
של חבית, שהיא חדה ואינו מקבלת רביעית שלו מסומכת.
אין נוטלים ממנה.
אין נוטלים ממנה.
So מגופה is the cover of the barrel. Right, the barrels usually they're all covered. Right on top it has that little like a cover. So that cover will not hold a revit in it. I don't know how, but let's say. So if you want to של חבית ושהיא חדה ואינה מקבלת רביעית שלא מסומכת, אין נוטלים ממנה. So I guess if you put two together, I don't know exactly what's going on here, because it's does not, as long as it doesn't carry revit, you can't wash your hands. Continue. ואם חייבה מלמטה.
Sometimes the lid, even because it's big, it could have, let's say, the lid itself, right? Of the barrel.
Yeah, what?
The lid itself, it could be like a little deep, right? Because it's so big, it could have revit.
Usually the lids are made that they have like the lid sits inside the barrel, so it doesn't move, and then they put metal on top to hold it tight. So I don't even know how the lid could have any water flow.
Maybe there's like a little dip in it or something.
No, it's actually protruding because you don't want it to move. You want to cover it and close it. So they basically make it like they make it like a hat. It has like a hat over there, right? So it will not have a revit. So what is he talking about here? So maybe because of the metal around it, because it looks like a cap, the metal makes it look like a cap.
Right? If you turn it over.
Yeah.
If you turn it over, it becomes like a kli. Yeah.
Oh, but by itself it doesn't. It's because of that metal piece that's connected to it. That's the megufa, I guess the metal that surrounds. So here, it's like a kippah, right? Yeah. Right? You have Ozeh, and then you have this little piece Ozeh, and now you could have it. But he says, no, that's not going to do that because it's not by itself. It's, again, so okay, very simple. Let's take a piece of wood. Take a piece of wood.
A thick wool kippah, you could use it as a kid.
No, you can't because it's leaking through the water. The water will go through it.
No, the thick ones it doesn't leak.
Of course it does. Of course it does. Little by little, it's going to go out.
The thick, there's
the thick. It's any material.
The hard ones.
Okay, so it's not material anymore. I don't know what it is. Okay. ואם הרחיבה מלמטה.
You know what I mean? The thick, strong wool.
Listen to this. ואם הרחיבה מלמטה.
ואם הרחיבה מלמטה עד שמקבלת רביעית כשהיא יושבת
שלא מסומכת, נוטלים ממנה. Okay, so the hechinami, you're right. If you take the kli, let's say you took the cover of the barrel, and you put, the barrel usually cover, it's flat, not like this kippah, right? But why did I take off the kippah? Because what happens is, when you put the gumai, when you put that, or the rubber piece around it, right? Or you install, whatever you install, now it's like a kli, now it could hold the revit. So you want to utilize that barrel cover to wash your hands, because it has a revit, it's going to be mulatar. That's what Bishop Shulchan Aruch was telling us. Bezat Hashem tomorrow. Hopefully to see you all here. We will continue in Siv Katan, Yud Bet, and Mishnah Berurah. Baruch Adonai Olam, Amen, Ve'amen.
That's probably the issue when you have the bottles on Shabbat.